Sports, here with your host T-Wil, the People's Coach.
And I am Bold Barry.
And boldest man alive. Yeah, I got to fill in your own intro.
That line real quick.
So we get in sync, episode, whatever this is. We in sync now. Episode 20 something. We up there.
We're a little deep right now. We're a little deep. People should start tuning in. A little deep out
there. People, subscribe.
We're trying to come back.
Yeah, trying. So here we're gonna talk about the Thunder. Okay, 3.
The OK3, they got a name for him right now. The OK3.
That's just so
cute.
That's so whack.
So
they got to come up with something better than that.
Super Disney and Nickelodeon.
But so talk about the OK Big 3. I'm gonna call them that.
OK3.
Paul George,
OK Tracy,
Melo, and Russ, former MVP. And so, what do you think of them so far?
Well, currently they're sitting 5-7. Paul George just snapped their, I think, 4-game losing streak last night with 42 points, which I believe that saved them because I think when I was watching, they was definitely losing a little bit, and I'm like, oh, these guys again.
Like 42 points saves anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And aside from that, I mean, that's one of those teams where I'm like, considering the makeup of those players on that team, I'm like, that's one of those teams I'm like, all right, you got to watch and wait for them to take time, like, the 20-game, theory, the thing that's coming out this season and everything. You got to give them 20 games and possibly a little more, but, like, they're floating right around 500, or not around 500, or under 500, but, like, they can easily go into over 500 and everything. So, with them, I'm cool. I like how they look, as the games go on and they develop, and Russell looks real good out there. I thought, Russell was going to be more of, like, a force man because all these dudes are used to having the ball and dominating the ball, and Russell just came off being MVP last season. So I thought he was going to kind of be a force man, and it's kind of cool to see him kind of, defer a lot to Melo, defer to Paul George, and grow as a point guard and a facilitator. And he's also, I believe, 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double again, and that's easily going to probably change as the season goes on. And Melo, he's still Melo. I still don't like that he takes probably 4 or 5 shots in a row. Like, if they get rebound. He has to. He's Melo. But I'm like, I thought you left that in New York. In New York and Denver. But, Hoodie Melo don't change, man. And that's the one thing I think that might kill him, because they should be way better than 5-7. And if you look at the Knicks, they're looking way better without Melo on the low.
Yeah, we're not gonna go too deep on the Knicks one because my stomach probably hurt. But Porzingis is balling out. Yeah, exactly, he's looking like MVP candidate. Tim Hardaway Jr. finally woke up after playing terrible for the first.
He got paid all that bread.
Yeah, but he was looking terrible at the start of the season. He's starting to wake up. And other than that, Cantor's playing all right. But like you said, they're looking more together. Plus in the East, we know what it is. The East, hopefully, you got to have a couple people.
Even though the Cavs are 5-7 and stuff, but
this is not a Cavs episode.
I know. the weak East. Cavs 5-7.
Yeah, but like to say the Knicks doing better in this situation, we know what it's an easier situation than the East. But at the same time, team-wise, you know what I'm saying?
They're a cohesive unit.
They're looking all right. Like the Thunder, they need to get it together, and
need to stop, being a black hole.
Yeah, and so Paul George is looking like Paul George. I mean, he's getting up a lot of 3-point attempts, which I'm like, I've seen that. He's getting up at least like 7 3-point attempts a game. So it just kind of changing. He kind of is adapting to his situation. But like he said in his response to that breaking the winning streak in his 42-point game, just the fact that they got to come together more. Everyone has to be on the same page.
They got to have a more fluent offense.
And I'm not surprised by that. Like, no. Stop blaming Melo. It's like I'm not surprised by that from the standpoint that you, like with any big 3, you're bringing 3 different entities together who are on their own teams, doing their own thing, and you're trying to make them a cohesive unit, and that just
doesn't. Melo.
Yeah. And that sometimes it just doesn't work right away, as we've seen with all the big 3s, except for the potential Boston big 3. That would have really been nice. But all right. So anyway, like we've seen with all big 3s before, the Boston big 3 that we again didn't really get to see to a full extent, but they need time to mesh and blend and be on the same page, and and I just think that's their main issue. So to pick on to now focus on your guy, Melo. He just passed, you made me aware that he just passed Allen Iverson on the all-time scoring list. And so one thing we want to talk about, and I'll give you the floor because I don't think you're too happy about like the stigma around Melo, as you've seen with the subliminal Melo.
It's just Melo.
Jabs. So what? Like I mean, like what's up? I have my own opinion about Melo that I've been saying for years now. That I'm gonna say after you give your point. But what do you feel about? Like,
so let me just start with Melo here. I mean, before we get into Melo, let me just say that. Actually, no, we'll just get into Melo, man. We'll just go right into Melo. So, Mr. Carmelo Anthony, Hoodie Melo. Olympic medals are more important than NBA championships. Melo. has a great accomplishment in passing Allen Iverson, obviously, in the scoring list, and I have all respect for that. He's one of the greatest scorers in the NBA of all time, and he'll probably pass many more names this year. He'll probably be top 20 by the end of the season, which is kind of crazy too. But with that being said, that hasn't done anything in his career. Out of all the names that he's up there with, all these dudes have at least been to a finals, more than one conference finals, out of the second round. They've had well balanced careers as far as accolades and accomplishments go, and I feel like Melo doesn't really take that part of his career as seriously. When it comes to really being a winner or better than the other teammates. And I used to be an advocate for Melo. I used to love Melo, man. Back when he was in Denver. Headband Melo. I rocked with Melo when he went to New York, because I was like, all right, him and Amari are gonna stop that big three that LeBron.
Amari was on that.
Oh, we all forgot, because Amari
Amari was there first.
If you look at what Amari, if you look at what Melo's done in his career, he's literally came through and just Hurricane Katrina every team. This dude, bro, he'll come through and just mess up the chemistry, mess up the vibe, get coaches all messed up, great coaches too, George Karl. I don't like how Melo kind of just dirt all over George Karl's name and everything. Kind of just, you see where he's at now. He's not coaching anymore. And granted, he said wild stuff too.
The Kings, but then he had
DeMarcus Cousins over there. You had another coach killer. So Melo has been kind of like a coach killer, low key. He's been like a team chemistry killer, which you're kind of seeing it in OKC early, and it's early, but you're kind of seeing it because he's the only guy I feel like that plays outside of whatever offense they really got going on over there, which is more like the ISO hero ball, which is cool, but you're talking about you want to win, you kind of got to sacrifice that part of your game in order to get to where you want to go. And I feel like with this team struggling like that, there's no reason for them to be 2 games under 500 at this point in the season. But Melo's one of those great accomplished players, but he just needs to kind of tone it down a little bit, man.
I mean,
right at this point in his career.
All right, let me first start off by saying I've always said that Melo and Chris Paul are the type of players that will only win a ring when they take that Jason Kidd role on the team when he was on the Mavericks. That back seat, you come in and just do what you need to do and take a seat and chill out.
But even Jason Kidd played a pivotal point on that Mavericks team.
And I feel like they still can play pivotal points on their potential championship team of the future if that happens. But they can't be the guy. They can't be the focal point. And I feel like even in this role right now, Melo is a focal point. He's in the big guy. Three. He's in their big three.
He wants to be the second guy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Well, what I'm saying is that can't. He's not gonna. They're not. Him and Chris Paul are not going to get rings. That I've been saying that. I like, we've had episodes. I like Chris Paul. I just don't think they can be on leaders of teams and get to the championship. Just like how Jason Kidd, he was great in his career when he at all facets of his career, but he just couldn't take his team to that next step. Granted, when he was on the Nets, that he brought them all the way. Almost brought them all the way. But there's certain guys that it's just not going to work out for them. So let me just say, Melo's one of those guys. I just feel like he's not going to have that till he's a role player on the team. Cool.
And there's not enough time left. He's 33 years old right now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Time is ticking, man.
Yeah. So but to counter what you're saying, I just feel like it's time to blend, time to be on the same page. Time, will solve all of that. What you're saying about being on the scoring list, when I found that out, I kind of hit that with the so what. Because it's of course a chucker is going to be on that. DeMar DeRozan's probably going to be on that list someday. You know what I'm saying? DeMar DeRozan. You know what I'm saying? DeMar DeRozan, not to slight DeMar DeRozan, but that's all he is a scorer. So, of course, people who are just scorers, not to say that Melo didn't kind of change his game up later on.
Though, if you look at those names on the list, they've all, bettered their team as far as, carrying them, as a whole, where individually they were great, but their team still went somewhere and took them to places. Like Allen Iverson, for example. he advances teams past second rounds in the playoffs to a finals. Like, he's done things like this, but Melo has yet to really do that. And like, the only reason why Melo even went to that conference finals, and it wasn't because of Melo, let's be real, it was really because Chauncey Billups, as the leadership role, when you enter leadership, he came over and helped that and propelled them to go there. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, no, I mean, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate to the fact that I know Melo is still a great talent. Melo is still a great scorer. He's still, but I feel like people try to still make him out to be this guy.
He's not that guy.
And like, so little do we remember, like, there was a time that Melo and LeBron were under the same cloth when they came into the league.
And
people thought they were going to be.
People were mad that Melo got robbed of Rookie of the Year. Like,
right. People had them on the same pedestal. It's like, you wouldn't dare put them on the same.
Not now anymore.
No, never. So
I don't even like LeBron like that. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So to talk about pivotal players, and changing the game per se, we're gonna talk about the other boy. You got so many boys now coming this season because you just find people that you kind of.
I just don't like the things that people like to say about certain players. They give them too much. They give him the crown too early. I don't like when the crown's given too early.
Oh, speaking of that, I know a great way to start our episode, but next episode. So we'll transition that into cut y'all next episode talking about Giannis and the Bucks and whether they're gonna get that together and what's going on with that squad. Please subscribe. Please check us out on Instagram. Catch y'all next time.